Hey guys, Matt here. This is my review of Captain Marvel. This movie is directed by Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck, who previously directed Sugar and Mississippi Grind. This movie stars Brie Larson, Samuel L. Jackson, with Ben Mendelsohn and Jude Law. Captain Marvel is about a character named Veers, played by Brie Larson. She's part of the Kree, which is an alien species. And she's on a mission with her other soldiers and compatriots. And the mission goes wrong, and she finds herself on Earth, but it's Earth during the mid-1990s. And there, she's tasked with stopping the Skrulls, which are like the bad guys from taking over the Earth. And there, she meets young S.H.I.E.L.D. agent Nick Fury, played by Samuel L. Jackson. But while she's trying to stop the Skrulls, she discovers that she may have led a past life that she knows nothing about. When I heard they were making a Captain Marvel movie, I wasn't at all surprised because, one, I think Marvel and Disney are trying to make movies of all the MCU and Marvel characters, but at the same time, I knew why, and it was to tie into the Avengers films. The end of Avengers Infinity War, one of the post-credit scenes ties into Captain Marvel. Alas, we have our movie. So, I was expecting something along the lines of Wonder Woman meets Green Lantern, because I knew some things about Captain Marvel, majority being that she's supposed to be the strongest character in the Marvel Universe. And I was hoping, like Iron Man and Thor did previously, characters I either didn't like or didn't know much about would not only flesh out the characters and broaden my knowledge, but also make me like them. So I saw Captain Marvel, and it was good and enjoyable if you don't know about the character, but it wasn't great, and I felt a little underwhelmed. So, Brie Larson as Captain Marvel. How was she? Well, she's attractive and nice to look at, and she plays the role of Captain Marvel well, and Veers well, but as far as Carol Danvers goes, it's hard to say, because she plays Veers as this stoic character that's trained to not show emotions, okay, which is good from a storytelling standpoint for that character, but it disengages the audience because we can't feel anything for her. And so then when she becomes Captain Marvel, she has a good time, she's empowered, it's fun to watch and cool to look at. But as far as Carol Danvers goes, I don't know. Because the movie doesn't depict her as Carol Danvers very much. There is a flashback scene before her changes come, but all these flashbacks and these images and all these things about this life that she previously had, we don't really get to see. We hear mentions, and we see, images and glimpses of her laughing and her having friends and having a good time and this and that, but the movie doesn't really delve into her previous life a whole lot. So we're supposed to go off people's words. And then when she has a revelation of who she is, what she can do, there's no attachment, because you don't really sympathize for her. You sympathize for her best friend that's glad to see her, and those that care about her, but the character herself, you can't really, there's no attachment. It's, okay, you're a superhero, that's cool, and that's it. You don't really get to know her as a person. I would say the bright spot of this film, and also a huge negative I'll get to later, is Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury. Now, I'm not sure if they de-aged him with CGI or makeup or both, similar to what they did with Kurt Russell in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, but he looked phenomenal. He looked really good. There's also another side character in this film who returns, who also they de-aged, and he doesn't look as good, but it's nice to see that character again. Another bright spot in this film is Ben Mendelsohn. He likes to play like Hugo Weaving. He likes to play a bad guy, or he plays a bad guy often. And here, he was really good. He wasn't like Orson Krennic in Rogue One, or he wasn't like, what's his name in Ready Player One. But he did a good job, and the direction they took his character as well as Jude Law's character was very clever, and it worked really well. Jude Law also really good in this movie. There's really nothing I can think of in which Jude Law, gives a bad performance. He's good in everything, and he always seems like he's having fun with the role, which is also good. Now, this movie takes place in the 1990s, and they do not let you forget it's the 1990s, because whether it's a song that they're playing during an action scene, or a sign, or a picture, or a T-shirt, there's always a reference that, hey, it's 1990s, which was fun, because a lot of movies, when they go for nostalgia or they go for period pieces, it's usually like the 70s or the 80s, but it's never really the 1990s, so that was nice to see. The interactions between Carol and Nick Fury was one of the bright spots of the movie. I really liked the way they got along, and the chemistry was really nice. Also, the aspect of girl power in a movie is fine, but with movies like Alita, which has a similar plot, also, tries to recognize, girl power and strength and stuff like that, it's fine, but not when it's hurled at you and beats you over the head. It's like they tried really hard to make this a feminist kind of movie, which is okay, but I felt like they should have focused more on just who the character is and not really try to hammer that home, so to speak. Also, some aspects of the story were kind of poorly written. Namely, one huge, glaring issue some people are going to have with Nick Fury. This movie tries to connect the dots with certain things, and they use a cat named Goose to do some of that, and everyone's going to walk out of this movie going, oh, the best part of the movie is Goose the cat. No, it's not. No, it's not. Goose, the overrated cat, is a cat, more or less a red herring that's used to connect those dots. But other than that, the cat has a couple good scenes, but really nothing to write home about that we haven't seen in other movies, where you take a character like a cat or some animal or furry creature that's not what they appear to be. Also, Captain Marvel's supposed to be the strongest character in the Marvel Universe, but the movie does a bad job of depicting that, because she's only really Captain Marvel, which they don't even refer to her by that name, by the way, and like the last 15-20 minutes of the movie. And even then, she's not shown as this, Superman type being. Instead, just like Lucy, she's depicted as this character that once she's on fire, literally, nothing can stop her. Which is a little bit of a, disappointment, because if nothing can stop her, where's the challenge? How do you attach yourself to that character, if she seemingly doesn't have a weakness? But the visuals were really good. I like the music, except for the music that plays during obvious scenes that kind of forces you to feel a certain way. So Captain Marvel, it was entertaining. Some aspects were a little clunky and poorly written. The acting was really good, especially from Lashana Lynch, who plays Carol Danvers' best friend. That dynamic added some emotion to the movie, which was nice. Lee Pace is in this as like a cameo, but he's absolutely wasted. His character could have been played by anybody else, but no, they had to get Lee Pace, who has 4th billing in the credits, by the way. So it's just laughably absurd that they chose to incorporate that character of all the other, small minor characters they could have connected to this. Also, there's 2 post-credit scenes. The first one is practically a must-see. All I'm going to say is it's very similar to the scene in the Ant-Man credits. That might be a scene in a movie coming up. And then after the credits scene is more or less like a deleted scene, something they could have left out, but, it's going to please some fans. So, Captain Marvel, good, but not great. The movie also felt very much like a Marvel Phase 1 type movie, where they weren't really sure what direction they were going to take it, or really how to flesh out the character. So because of that, I'm going to give Captain Marvel a C+. So until next time, guys, see ya.